Hello and welcome back to An Old Man Watches, where today I'm going to be talking about the 2020 Women Loving Women rom-com Happiest season. And we begin the movie by meeting Abby Holland and Harper Caldwell. They are a couple who have been dating for nearly a year as Christmas approaches. Now, Christmas is most definitely not the season of happiness for Abby. In fact, she actively dislikes the holiday period due to its association with her parents' deaths. And so, in a spontaneous effort to cheer up her girlfriend, Harper invites Abby to accompany her back to her hometown to celebrate the holidays with the Caldwell family. Now, Abby, who plans to propose to Harper, sees this as the perfect opportunity to introduce herself to Harper's parents and accepts the invitation. There's just one flaw with the plan, which Harper rather belatedly reveals on the drive to the Caldwell home. You see, though Harper's always given the impression that she is out to her parents, they actually have no idea that she's a lesbian. Harper and Abby are going to have to pretend to be platonic roommates for the duration of the stay. Oh, wait, did I say only one flaw? Make that two, because Harper's idyllic depictions of her family left out a few other details too. Like the fact that her dad's a would-be conservative politician running on a family values platform, or that Harper and her older sister Sloane have a thoroughly toxic, hyper-competitive relationship. Oh, and it's more than a little awkward for Abby to have to stand around watching while Harper's oblivious mother keeps inviting Harper's former boyfriends to every family function. If Harper can't be honest about who she is, can she and Abby really ever be happy together? So principal photography for Happiest season began in January 2020 and ran for about 5 weeks. Filming early in that year probably works well for a Christmas-themed movie, as you have the right climate, still winter in the Northern Hemisphere, and you have plenty of time to work on post-production. Now, of course, 2020 was an unusual year, and this timing means that the film racked shooting just before the entire movie industry shut down due to COVID. Which is not to say that Happiest season wasn't impacted by COVID. While doing press for the film, Aubrey Plaza let slip that a number of the cast and crew, including leading actor Kristen Stewart, came down sick during the production. Now, the movie itself debuted in late November 2020. Originally planned as a theatrical release, the continuing disruptions of the pandemic mean that it instead launched direct to Hulu. Now, reception to the film was positive. Most critics gave favourable reviews, and it had what was at the time, and may still be, I don't know, the best opening weekend of any film on Hulu, with over 400,000 households tuning in. I also liked the movie. It's not a perfect film, but it is overall a pleasing seasonal cinematic concoction. Let's talk about some of its features in more detail. And let's start by making one thing clear. This movie is the cinematic equivalent of a grilled cheese sandwich, and I did pick a grilled cheese for a reason. You're not going to get any surprises from this pleasant little Christmas pudding of a movie, but it basically does exactly what you expect it to do. Introduce two attractive people in love, put strains and stresses on their relationship that threaten to tear them apart, but that ultimately have them come through the relationship made stronger by the challenge. Spoilers, I guess, but seriously, this is a romantic comedy. There's a handful of standard formulae to the genre, and if you're at all familiar with movies of this kind, you know exactly what you're going to see here before you even sit down to watch it. So there's not a whole lot of surprises here, but as I've said before, and will no doubt say again, I'll take competence over originality. A well-made movie doesn't have to surprise you in order to entertain and engage you. And this is, on the whole, a well-made movie that knows exactly what it wants to be. A cosy, feel-good experience that celebrates romantic and familial love over the steady progress to its inevitable conclusion. Now, this is not to say that the film entirely lacks depth, mind you, nor is it to say that it's entirely without flaws. So, more on both of those factors later. First, a few words on the creative team, both in front of and behind the camera, who made Happiest season. This film was written and directed by Claire Duvall, a lesbian, and stars Kristen Stewart, who is reported to be married to a woman, so it's a queer romance film which has the benefit of having authentic queer voices and viewpoints behind it. Now, the movie I talked about this time last year, Christmas at the Ranch, also had the benefit, and it was still pretty bad, so authenticity doesn't necessarily mean that you're good, I guess, and it wasn't that Christmas at the Ranch wasn't authentic, I guess. It just, the script and acting and chemistry weren't really up to scratch. I can safely say that the acting here is a considerable step above that of Christmas at the Ranch, which is not surprising when you consider the cast that Duvall and her team were able to assemble. We've got Kristen Stewart in one of the leading roles, for instance. Although once much maligned for her youthful performances in the Twilight franchise, Stewart has gone on to become a critically acclaimed performer, deservedly so, and has shone in a variety of genres. She can add romantic comedy to that list of successes because her portrayal of Abby is very charming. And there's plenty of other charismatic and capable talent to share the screen with Stewart. You've got Aubrey Plaza as Harper's ex Riley, Alison Brie as Harper's older sister, and Victor Garber as Harper's conservatively minded father, to name just three. Lots of talent on display here. Now, I mentioned earlier that Happiest Season is a little bit more layered than its surface-level romantic comedy plotline would suggest, and that layer comes in the form of an exploration of how different people's coming-out stories can vary widely in how challenging they are. Claire Duvall was, by her own admission, deeply closeted at one point, so I can see how the theme that people need to come out in the way that is comfortable to them would be an important one to her. And this theme is explored here through Harper's reluctance to come out to her family. Now, personally, this is an area I'm willing to give Harper a lot of leeway for her doubts and fears, especially given her family background. But the way that the theme is developed in the movie does mean that Harper repeatedly asks Abby to shoulder a lot of the burden of keeping Harper's secret for her, which puts pressure on the relationship, something the story needs, but which I know some viewers have found frustrating. And that frustration may be compounded by the fact that Mackenzie Davis, who plays Harper, doesn't exhibit the strongest romantic chemistry with Kristen Stewart, a shortcoming that is highlighted by just how much chemistry Aubrey Plaza does have with Stewart. Honestly, I think Davis had more convincingly sapphic vibes with her co-stars in Terminator Dark Fate than she exhibits here, and that's a movie where the director explicitly said he didn't want things to be sexy, so yeah, the chemistry is a bit lacking. Still, overall, I liked Happiest Season as a feel-good seasonal rom-com, and you might too. Next time, let's start off the new year with a bang as I commit the geek heresy of hating on George Lucas's Willow. Sorry, fellow nerds, but it's a bad movie. But that is next time. Until then, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you've seen Happiest Season, let me know what you thought of it.